Imagine you're a casting director at Fox. You've been searching for months for the lead of your new medical drama. You need someone magnetic, someone unpredictable, someone who can make a deeply unpleasant man completely irresistible to watch.
We read a lot of people.
You've seen dozens of actors. None of them feel right.
And we met with a lot of people, and we've been offered it to a number of people, but it wasn't really working.
Then a tape arrives. The quality is terrible. The lighting is a single bathroom bulb. You can barely hear the audio over the hum of an air conditioning unit.
You think we have nothing to talk about?
No, I just can't think of anything I'd be interested in.
He hasn't slept in 2 days. He filmed this in 30 minutes, and the moment you press play, this is the guy that tape changed television. The man who filmed it was Hugh Laurie. The character was Gregory House.
And I'm looking at this tape, and he's speaking in flawless American.
And the show that almost didn't happen because of one impossible casting problem became one of the most watched dramas in the history of television.
But he put himself on tape. He went into a bathroom of his hotel room there, put himself on tape. It's on the season 1 DVD.
But here's what most people don't know. Hugh Laurie wasn't supposed to be there. He wasn't on the short list. He wasn't even on the long list.
Of course he's got TV. Guy's been in the jungle for 20 years.
He was shooting a movie in Namibia, exhausted, out of his element, and he almost didn't send the tape at all. So today we're going to talk about how the wrong person in the wrong place at the wrong moment made the most right decision in TV history.
This was one of those occasions, actually I can't think of another one, when I was determined that whatever else happened, I would not leave the audition thinking, damn it, why didn't I do?
We need to understand what Fox and the producers were actually looking for, because Gregory House wasn't a normal TV character. Most successful TV doctors at that point followed a specific template.
It's getting to the point where we knew the character was going to be an American. That was something that was decided upon.
They were warm, they were caring, they had a good bedside manner. Think ER, think Scrubs. The doctor was someone you trusted, someone you rooted for because he wanted to help. David Shore, the creator of House MD, wanted the exact opposite.
Clearly in his mind, the show, it's an American TV show, it's going to be about the good-looking, caring doctor, but he wasn't.
Shore had built the character around one central, uncomfortable idea.
I don't know why I did that. That was just completely insane.
What if the best doctor in the world was also the worst person in the room? What if competence and empathy were not just separate, but actively in conflict? House lies to his patients. House manipulates his team. House takes Vicodin and doesn't apologize for it. He says out loud what everyone else only thinks. He is, by any normal measure, a bad person. And the casting problem was simple. Who plays that? Because if you cast someone too cold, the audience disengages. If you cast someone too likable, the whole premise collapses.
It just was, that is what I had in mind from, and I may not even be completely aware of it, but it just kind of all synthesized in that moment. I realized, yes, that is exactly what this character is.
You need someone who can be genuinely cruel and genuinely compelling at exactly the same time. Fox had a list of names. American names mostly, which made sense because Gregory House was written as American, and Fox was nervous about putting a British lead on a primetime drama. The names on that list were good names, recognizable names, names that would have made a perfectly fine television show. None of them were Hugh Laurie.
I think it's what, Hugh brought to the role, combined with the role, that just made him larger than life.
To understand why Hugh Laurie wasn't on that list, you need to understand who Hugh Laurie was in 2003. In the UK, the answer was simple. Hugh Laurie was a legend, a Cambridge man. One half of the most beloved comedy duo in British television history alongside Stephen Fry. He'd done Blackadder, a bit of Fry and Laurie, Jeeves and Wooster. He was charming. He was brilliant. He was effortlessly funny.
But one has to keep up the pretense.
I don't quite understand. You carry on the good work.
Very well, sir.
In America, most people had no idea who he was, and that's actually important context. Because when his agent suggested he audition for this American Fox drama, Laurie's reaction wasn't excitement, it was closer to confusion. He was in Namibia. He was filming Flight of the Phoenix with Dennis Quaid. The production was grueling, the climate was brutal, and Laurie was spending his days in the desert doing physical work that had nothing to do with playing a sardonic genius with a cane.
I was only aware of competing with myself. That sounds glib, but as an actor, have been a disastrous auditioner. I think I've only ever got 2 roles out of 1,000 auditions.
The script arrived, he read it, and something happened. By every practical measure, he should have passed. He was busy. He was in the wrong country. He was not what Fox was looking for. And yet, he couldn't let it go. The character of Gregory House did something to Hugh Laurie that very few scripts do to very experienced actors. It felt like something he understood from the inside.
And this is not always the case. It's basically never the case. The things Hugh liked about this character were the things I liked about the character, and he was reacting to the character in the exact same way I was, and so that helped us just go down the road and have a wonderful time with it.
There's a specific kind of intelligence that turns in on itself, that becomes cutting because it's bored, that uses wit as a weapon because genuine connection feels too dangerous.
But I did work very hard because I thought I was competing with past failures.
Hugh Laurie, privately, personally knew that shape very well. But knowing you're right for a part and being able to prove it are 2 very different things. And Hugh Laurie was about to try to prove it in the least ideal conditions imaginable. Here's what actually happened. The production in Namibia had a short break. A window of time, not much but enough. Laurie's agent had been pushing. The producers wanted a tape, and Laurie made a decision he was going to do it. There was one problem. There was no proper setup. No studio, no camera crew, no lighting rig. There was a bathroom. There was a small camera.
He was there and shooting a movie, and his agent sent him the sides for the scenes that people were auditioning with.
Single overhead light. Whatever surface he could prop the camera on. He ran the scene. We don't know exactly how many times, and he sent it. No makeup, no costume, no direction. Just Hugh Laurie, a script, a bad light, and a decision to commit completely. What arrived on the desks at Fox was technically one of the worst audition tapes they had ever received.
We'd seen a number of actors, and we were going through these tapes, and
Then Hugh put himself on tape, and Brian was completely unfamiliar with Hugh's work and just went, "This is the kind of guy we need. This all-American guy." I think he actually said that.
And then they watched it. And something happened in that room that doesn't happen very often in network television casting. The technical problems stopped mattering. The lighting stopped mattering. The accent, which was still very much there, stopped mattering.
I'm going to stab you!
Because what Laurie did on that tape was not just perform the character. He became the character in a way that was immediately viscerally clear. David Shore, when he eventually saw the tape, said something that has become one of the great quotes in TV casting history. He said that he had been looking at American actors and worrying about whether they could play the character. And then he watched Laurie's tape and realized he wasn't watching an actor play House. He was watching House.
To put a character as apparently unlikable and apparently problematic as this at the center, I thought was a very bold thing to do. And one of the things I liked about it was that he didn't try to be liked.
Ba 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 ba.
How many coins did you eat?
Here's where it gets complicated, because even after that room full of producers watched that tape and felt that feeling, there was still a massive institutional problem. Fox was nervous. An unknown British actor playing an American character in an American primetime drama on a network that was not exactly known for taking risks on unknown quantities.
Well, it's also a bit of an escape route, because if you mess something up and it doesn't sound right, you've always got the excuse of saying, well, I'm not really, that's the whole point, I'm not really an American. That was a deliberate mistake that I put in there, which I didn't.
That would make it my fault, is that right? Yeah. Well, show me the working.
Show you what?
The working. Show me the math. How does that work?
This was not a small concern. American network television in 2004 had a very specific relationship with leads. They needed to be recognizable. They needed to be safe bets. The audience needed to feel like they already trusted this person before the pilot even aired. Hugh Laurie was none of those things. And there was a specific technical problem on top of the general risk. Could he actually sustain an American accent for a full season of television?
Trying to walk with everybody, and you're the one with a stone in your shoe, and everyone else is just floating along, and you're always going, that didn't sound right, that didn't sound right, you know.
Wow.
Doing an accent in a bathroom tape is one thing. Doing it 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, 40-some episodes across multiple seasons, that's a different question entirely. The producers went back to Fox. They made the case. And the argument they made is, in retrospect, a fascinating one. Because it wasn't "trust us, he's great." It was more specific than that. The argument was the accent is not the point.
And this kind of complexity of writing, especially words like pneumocystosarcosis and whatnot, you really want to find an American actor, and I got very irate with more foreign actors being put up in front of me, and they...
What Fox needed was someone who could make an audience spend an hour with a man who has no warmth, no softness, no obvious reason to be loved, and still come back next week. That was the hard thing. That was the impossible thing. And Laurie had already done it, in a bathroom, with terrible lighting. Fox approved. Hugh Laurie got on a plane from Namibia, and the most unlikely lead in Fox history went to work. Getting the role was one thing. What Laurie did with it was something else entirely. Because the version of House that ended up on screen wasn't just the version that was on the page. Laurie brought specific things to the character that weren't written, and some of them became so fundamental to House that it's almost impossible to imagine them not being there. The first thing was the physicality. Gregory House has a bad leg. He walks with a cane.
I went out to try and buy a cane in Los Angeles to rehearse with. Strangely enough, you can't buy a cane in Los Angeles. They are so terrified of death and mortality that they hide all that stuff away. You just can't buy one. So I bought an umbrella.
This is central to the character. The physical pain is the source of the Vicodin, and the Vicodin is the source of half the moral and ethical complexity of the show. But the way House carries that pain, the specific performance of a man who refuses to let you see how much it costs him, that came from Laurie.
And I said, see, here's an American actor who's really grasping this character. And everyone's looking at me kind of funny because they all kind of knew he was a British actor. He read cold, flawlessly, with character and humor, and his accent, gone.
The second thing was the music. If you've watched House MD, you know that Gregory House plays blues piano and guitar. This wasn't originally a major element of the character. But Hugh Laurie is a genuinely accomplished musician. He plays piano, guitar, harmonica, and has released actual blues albums. He brought that to the table.
Comfortable with this world because of various conditions that he's suffered in his life. He's had to deal with painkillers. He's knowledgeable about them. He actually gave me a Vicodin, my first and only Vicodin, which I have to say is a very enjoyable product.
The idiopathic means without a known cause.
The third thing, and this is the one that critics and writers have talked about most, was something harder to name, a quality of genuine intellectual pleasure in cruelty. Most actors playing a difficult character play the difficulty. They play the edge. Laurie did something different. He played the enjoyment. House doesn't just say cutting things because he's a bad person. He says them because he genuinely finds it interesting, almost delightful, to locate the exact thing that will be most uncomfortable to hear. That specificity, joy in precision, is something Laurie brought from somewhere that wasn't purely the script.
Yeah, welcome to my world.
Yeah.
The pilot of House MD aired on November 16, 2004. Fox had done something unusual with it. They aired it twice in the same week, back to back, as a test. This was partly confidence and partly caution. They genuinely weren't sure what they had. The numbers came in, they were good, very good. And then something else happened. Something that network television executives track more carefully than almost any other metric. The audience didn't just watch, they responded. What Fox was seeing in the early data was that audiences were not reacting to House the way you'd expect someone to react to a character who is genuinely unpleasant. they weren't tolerating him.
I'm just looking forward to reading the T-shirts. I'll be going, oh, that's a funny line. Oh, I said that. No, I said that. That's one. Yeah.
They weren't conflicted about him. They were delighted by him. This was the moment when it became clear that something significant had happened. Not just a good casting decision, a cultural recalibration. House was part of a wave. Tony Soprano had already proved that you could root for a bad man.
Doesn't accomplish anything generally. It's just a lot of ranting and raving and nothing. But
The Shield had already proved that a corrupt protagonist could be compelling. But House was doing it in a different context, in network primetime, in a procedural format, without the protective distance of cable. And at the center of all of it, in every scene, in every episode, was Hugh Laurie, doing an American accent, with a cane.
I think he's an actor's director, so his perspective's a little different.
What I really want to do is to give you the space to have this fight sort of in that kind of axis rather than that.
Good. That it's the character. The character is, so wonderfully, to me, heroic. He fights for you till the end. He does not, sort of cower in the face of any authority.
Here's the part of this story that doesn't get told enough. Even after the pilot worked, even after the numbers were good, the show nearly lost its way. Multiple times, the first crisis was internal. The writer's room was trying to figure out how much House to give the audience. There was a genuine debate about whether to soften him, to give him moments of conventional warmth that would make him more traditionally likable. Shore's position was clear.
He literally got out from behind his desk and went around his desk and went right up to the television as close as he could get because he was sort of mesmerized. This is Dr. House. So yeah, we sort of knew right away.
The moment you make House conventionally sympathetic, you break the premise. The show works because House is genuinely difficult. Give the audience one true moment of easy warmth and you've changed the contract.
What does that tell you?
Nothing. Just fun watching him blink.
The second crisis was Laurie himself. By season 2, the workload was extraordinary. Laurie was shooting in Los Angeles, away from his family in London, working hours that were essentially unsurvivable. The emotional demands of playing House, being in a state of high-functioning misanthropy for 8+ hours a day, were taking a real toll. There were real conversations at multiple points in the run about whether Laurie could continue, about whether the character was sustainable. And then there was the network. Fox, to their credit, had committed to the show. But there were always internal conversations about ratings, about the formula, about whether certain creative decisions were too risky. The Vicodin storyline alone, a protagonist who is, functionally, a drug addict, required constant negotiation. The show survived all of it. 8 seasons, billions of viewers across 66 countries. The most watched television drama in the world in 2008. And it started in a bathroom.
I have no idea whether that story is even vaguely true. I'm still convinced that they went to 45 other people who turned them down flat and said, I'm not going to do it for that money. Or whatever, I don't know. But it sounds good. It's very flattering to think that something I did on screen caught his attention like that.
In January 2005, Hugh Laurie won the Golden Globe for Best Actor in a Drama Series. He gave a speech. It was funny. It was gracious. And it contained one line that the room laughed at, but that, in context, is actually one of the stranger things ever said at an awards ceremony.
And he put himself on tape and sent it in, and we watched it, and a light went on. It just was, that is what I had in mind.
6 years times 3 weeks, you owe me better than 4 months.
It's 5 o'clock. I'm going home.
6 years times 3 weeks. You owe me better than 4 months.
It's 5 o'clock. I'm going home.
Not exactly in those words, but he acknowledged in that speech the absurdity of the path, that the role that had just won him the most prestigious award of his career had been earned in the least prestigious possible circumstances. But here's why the Golden Globe mattered beyond the personal. It was a signal to the industry. The specific signal was this: an unknown British actor playing an American character who had auditioned on a terrible tape from a foreign country had just beaten every conventional measure of what network television casting was supposed to look like. It changed things.
Yeah, I don't like that. Sorry.
Not immediately, not dramatically, but it changed things. The conversation about who could lead an American network show became slightly more complicated. The assumption that the lead had to be a recognizable American face was quietly challenged. You can draw a line. If you want to draw it from Hugh Laurie's bathroom tape to the expanding internationalization of American television that would accelerate over the next decade. It's a long line, and other things contributed. But the line is there. Gregory House ran for 8 seasons and ended in 2012. Hugh Laurie won 2 Golden Globes. He was nominated for Emmy Awards 6 times. The show won a Peabody. It was, by any measure, one of the most successful medical dramas in the history of American television. But when people talk about the legacy of House MD, they tend to focus on the character, on the specific cultural permission he granted.
Hugh did the accent perfectly, although from day one to the very last day, that was, according to Hugh, his biggest challenge in doing the role was the accent.
The permission to be a protagonist who is not trying to be good. The permission to be intelligent in a way that is unsocialized, uncomforting, slightly dangerous. But here's the thing I keep coming back to. Hugh Laurie, in 2003, was a comedy actor from England, known to British audiences, unknown to American ones, exhausted from a desert film shoot, sitting in a bathroom with a small camera and a script he'd read twice. He had no reason to believe this was going to work. There was nothing in his career trajectory that pointed toward this moment. The conditions were wrong. The timing was wrong. The location was objectively absurd, and he committed anyway, that decision, to not wait for the right circumstances, to just do it in the bathroom with the bad light is the reason House exists. It's the reason Gregory House exists, and it's the reason that one of the strangest, most uncompromising, most rewatchable characters in TV history got made at all.